There's a trap that sits at the heart of why most people never manifest what they want, why they stay stuck in the same patterns year after year, why they understand the concepts but never see real results. And it's not lack of knowledge. It's not lack of desire. It's not even lack of effort. It's waiting. And once you understand why waiting is actually dangerous to your manifestation, everything about how you approach creating your reality changes. Most people spend their entire lives waiting. They want abundance, so they wait for money to show up. They want love, so they wait for the right person to appear. They want success, so they wait for the perfect opportunity. They think waiting is patience. They think it's being realistic. They think it's just how life works. Their entire approach is to desire something and then wait for it to arrive. But every person who's successfully manifested consistently, every teacher who's truly understood how creation works, every individual who's transformed their life completely, they all have one thing in common. They stopped waiting. They understood that waiting isn't patience. Waiting is danger. Waiting is the very thing that prevents manifestation. And that's not just impatience. That's not just rushing. That's understanding a fundamental principle of creation. Let me show you why. Before we go any further, you need to understand an ancient principle that explains everything about manifestation. It's a phrase you've probably heard, as above, so below. Your internal state creates your external reality. Your consciousness above manifests as circumstances below. The invisible realm determines the visible realm. Which means if you're waiting for something, if your internal state is one of waiting, you're broadcasting, I don't have it yet. You're in the consciousness of not having. And as above, so below, that consciousness of not having creates a reality of not having. To wait is to imply that you are not. And sadly, you cannot be what you are not. When you wait for abundance, you're being someone who doesn't have abundance yet. And you cannot manifest abundance while being someone who doesn't have it. It's impossible. The internal state of waiting creates an external state of continued waiting. As above, so below. When you wait for love, you're being someone who isn't loved yet. And you cannot manifest love while being someone who isn't loved. The consciousness of waiting for love creates more experiences of waiting for love. The internal creates the external. In every case, waiting keeps you in the frequency of not having. And from the frequency of not having, you can only create more not having. Waiting is dangerous because it locks you into the very state that prevents what you want from manifesting. But here's what most people miss, what very few manifestation teachers actually talk about. This doesn't mean you do nothing. This doesn't mean you just sit around embodying the feeling and never take action. There's a context to action that's crucial, and hardly anyone addresses it. You need to do what you know you should do. Do what seems obvious and natural. If you want abundance and there's a job opportunity that feels right, take it. If you want a relationship and there's someone you're drawn to, reach out. If you want to start a business and you have an idea, take the first step. Don't wait for some magical sign or perfect moment or divine intervention. Just do what seems natural. Do what the person who already has what you want would naturally do. Because action from the right frequency, action from the consciousness of already being, that action actually manifests results. And this is the part that only a few teachers talk about, the specific context. Do what you need to do, but more importantly, maintain frequency while you do it. Because all actions from the wrong frequency will yield a wrong reality. You can take all the right actions, do all the right things, work incredibly hard, but if you're doing it all from the frequency of lack, from the consciousness of waiting, from the state of not having, those actions won't produce what you want. They'll just create more experiences that match your frequency of lack. Think about someone who takes action to make money but does it from desperation, from the frequency of, I don't have enough, I need this to work. All their actions carry that frequency of lack. And so even when they work hard, even when they do everything right, the results match their frequency. More struggle, more lack, more desperation. But someone who takes the same actions from the frequency of abundance, from the consciousness of already being wealthy, from the state of having, their actions produce completely different results. Not because the actions themselves are different, but because the frequency behind the actions is different. And reality always matches frequency, not action. This is the danger of waiting. Waiting keeps you in the wrong frequency. And any action you take from that frequency of waiting, from that consciousness of not having, will just create more waiting, more not having, regardless of how much you do. So what's the solution? How do you avoid the danger of waiting? You embody being what you want now. You step into the identity of already having it. You don't wait for it to come. You become it internally, and then you move in the world from that state. You take action, yes, but from the frequency of already being, not from the frequency of trying to become. And here's something powerful. You're bound to time in this physical plane. Everything seems to unfold sequentially. There seems to be a delay between desire and manifestation. But you can bypass time with your frequency, with your identity. When you fully embody the identity of having what you want, when your frequency matches being instead of waiting, you collapse time. Things that seemed like they would take years happen in months. Opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly appear. Circumstances rearrange themselves in ways you couldn't have planned. There's an ancient saying, "Know thyself and thou shalt know the universe and God." When you know yourself as the creator, when you know yourself as the consciousness that's generating your reality, when you fully embody the identity of who you desire to be, you step into your power as God of your universe. And from that place, time bends. Reality shifts. Waiting ends. Someone who understands this operates completely differently. They don't wait for abundance. They are abundant now, and they take action from that state. They don't wait for love. They are loved now, and they move through the world from that consciousness. They don't wait for success. They are successful now, and they do what successful people naturally do. The actions might look the same from the outside, but the frequency is completely different. And the frequency is what creates the results. So here's what I want you to understand. Waiting is dangerous because it keeps you in the frequency of not having. And from not having, you can only create more not having. As above, so below. The internal state of waiting creates the external reality of continued waiting. Stop waiting. Embody being now. Take action from the frequency of already having. Do what seems natural and obvious, but do it from the right state. Maintain your frequency of being while you act. And know yourself. Know yourself as the creator. Know yourself as consciousness. Know yourself as the one who determines your reality through your identity and frequency. Do that and you bypass time. You collapse the distance between desire and manifestation. You stop waiting and start living as what you want to be. Waiting is dangerous. Being is powerful. Choose being and watch everything change.